The riverbed was supposed to be full. For almost 40 years, Josephine had come to this exact bend every dry season, and it had never once let her family down. But this morning, there was nothing, just cracked earth and a stillness that didn't belong here. Behind her, 11 elephants waited for her to decide what happened next. Josephine didn't move. Not yet. She lifted her trunk into the wind and searched for something the others couldn't sense at all. 3 weeks earlier, none of this trouble existed. Every morning began the same way. Josephine woke before sunrise, and the rest of the family fell in behind her without needing to be told. Her sisters, her daughters, and 4 calves too young to remember any dry season at all. This was a family in the truest sense. Elephant herds are led by their oldest, most experienced female, and every other member follows her decisions about where to walk, when to rest, and when it's safe to drink. Josephine was 61 years old. She had led this family for over 2 decades. By mid-morning, the family reached the swamp, a stretch of green that seemed out of place against the dry plains around it. The water here didn't come from rain. It came from Kilimanjaro itself, seeping down through the mountain's rock for years before surfacing here, kilometers away. It was one of the few water sources in the region that almost never failed. Josephine drank first, then stepped back to let the calves push in around her. A young female wrapped her trunk gently around her mother's, a small, ordinary gesture, and one elephants use constantly to stay connected within the family. The rains were supposed to have come by now. They hadn't. At first, nobody seemed to notice. Dry seasons in Amboseli always stretched a little longer than expected. But as the weeks passed, the swamp that fed Josephine's family began shrinking at its edges. Even a water source built on a mountain's melting snow has limits when the sky stops giving anything back. Other families were noticing too. Herds that normally kept their distance began drifting toward the same shrinking strip of green. One afternoon, a second family arrived at the swamp, bigger and unwilling to share the little water that remained. Ears flared, trunks lifted in warning. Josephine didn't challenge them. She turned her family away instead, toward a feeding ground farther out, buying time rather than water. It was a decision built on patience, not fear, the kind only an experienced matriarch makes. But patience only worked as long as the dry season eventually ended, and so far, it showed no sign of ending at all. Then, one morning, the swamp was gone. Not smaller, gone. Just a wide stretch of cracked mud, where green had been for as long as anyone in the family could remember. The youngest calf was the first to struggle. He'd been born only 2 years earlier, into a world that had never shown him hardship like this. His steps grew shorter. He leaned against his mother more than he walked beside her. An elephant calf can survive several days without water, but not indefinitely, and not while trying to keep pace with a family searching for answers no one had yet found. That evening, Josephine did something the rest of the family hadn't seen her do before. She stopped walking. She lifted her trunk high into the air and held it there, testing something in the wind that no one else seemed to notice. Elephants can detect scent, including water, from remarkable distances, and matriarchs are known to carry detailed mental maps of their home range, built up over decades of walking it. Josephine hadn't been to the place she was thinking about in over 20 years. She wasn't even sure it was still there, but right now, it was the only thing she had left to try. By morning, Josephine had made her decision. Instead of turning back toward the places they knew, she led her family east, away from the range they'd spent their whole lives in, toward toward hills none of the younger elephants had ever crossed. It wasn't a route she'd traveled often, just once, decades earlier, walking beside her own mother during a drought almost as severe as this one. Somewhere beyond those hills was a riverbed she hadn't seen since. Whether it still held any water at all was something she wouldn't know until she got there. The journey stretched the family thin. The calf and his mother fell behind, unable to match the pace of the rest. But distance didn't mean the family lost each other. Elephants communicate using rumbles pitched below human hearing, sounds that can travel for several kilometers across open ground. Josephine used them constantly on the journey, checking in with the elephants who'd fallen behind, and slowing the group's pace just enough to let them catch up. It wasn't a voice in any language a person would recognize, but every elephant in that family understood exactly what it meant. By the second night, exhaustion had caught up with the whole family, especially the calf, who could no longer keep pace even at the group's slowest speed. That was the moment 3 lionesses picked up their trail. A weakened calf, separated even slightly from the rest of the herd, was exactly the kind of opportunity a hungry pride waited for. They didn't attack right away. They watched, low in the grass, closing the distance a little at a time, waiting for the family to make a mistake. The moment the lions broke into the open, the family didn't scatter. They closed ranks. Josephine and the other adult females moved instantly, forming a tight circle around the calf with their bodies, facing outward, ears spread wide to look as large and threatening as possible. It's one of the most effective defenses in the animal kingdom, and it works because almost nothing is willing to challenge a full-grown elephant standing its ground. Josephine trumpeted, a sharp, aggressive blast, and took 2 steps toward the nearest lioness. It was enough. The lions held their distance, then slowly retreated into the dark.
The lions didn't return, but the standoff had cost the family something they couldn't easily spare: time, energy, and whatever strength was still left in their bodies. The calf was alive. That was what mattered. Josephine didn't slow down to mark the moment. There was still no water anywhere in sight, and somewhere ahead of them, the riverbed she remembered was either going to save her family, or it wasn't there at all. If you have made it this far, click on subscribe for more stories. By midday, the hills gave way to a wide, dry riverbed, exactly where Josephine remembered it. On the surface, it looked as lifeless as everywhere else they'd crossed. But Josephine didn't stop at the first stretch of sand. She walked further, to a specific bend in the riverbed, and started to dig, using her tusks to break the hard crust, then her trunk to clear the loosened earth beneath. It's a real, documented survival behavior. Then, water. Slow at first, just a dark stain spreading through the sand. And then, enough to pool. The calf reached it first, pulling in trunkful after trunkful. An adult elephant can drink well over 100 liters in a single visit, and this family hadn't had a real drink in days. Josephine waited. She always drank last. It was a role she'd carried for over 20 years, and on this day, more than any other, she'd earned it. The well didn't disappear once the family walked away. It became a place they returned to again and again through that dry season, and one the younger elephants would remember long after Josephine was gone. That's how knowledge survives in an elephant family. Not written down, not taught in a single lesson, just walked, generation after generation, until a route only one elephant remembered becomes a route the whole family knows. Josephine's family survived that drought, but it wasn't only the water that carried them through it. It was everything she remembered, and everything she was now passing on. If Josephine hadn't remembered that riverbed,
what do you think would have happened to her family? Hit the like button if you enjoyed this story. Subscribe for more animal stories.